one of our oldest members of the bar, present amidst us right now, Mr. Hingorani, father of Priya. And it's a very rare privilege to continue to have his affections for us. Thank you.
A young lawyer opening window to the new opportunity and skill development. Now I would like to request Mr. Krishna Mani to open the session.
Friends, the topic of the session is young lawyers. But I find that the average age of all these people sitting here must be minimum 50. Youngsters are downstairs. Anyway, I am talking about the people present here. Anyway, opening of windows to new opportunities and skill development. See, earlier we had only 3 branches in law, particularly civil and criminal law. But now we have innumerable branches, innumerable opportunities, new opportunities. Several new topics have developed, specializations have developed. But unfortunately, of late what we find is that people from the law schools, they don't come to practice in the litigation side. Litigation side is the actual side where a lawyer can show his skills. Of course, in other places also drafting skill can be shown and advising skill can be shown. But here, courtcraft, how to put over a point, what to say in the court, how to tackle a particular difficult situation in the court, all that one learns only in the litigation side. I have been in 2 law schools in the governing council, Bangalore Law School as well as in Bhopal Law School. And what we found was that 90% of the products, not even 90, even more than that, they go for corporate sector, they go to the firms, they don't come for litigation side. In Supreme Court, hardly we find about 10-15 lawyers from the law schools who have chosen the litigation side. So if skill development has to be shown, then it is in the litigation side. But we have 3 panelists here. Let us see what they have to say on this topic. New opportunities, of course, are there in plenty. Apart from the 3 branches and criminal and civil and company, we also had, in some of the high courts, we have original side and then appellate side. But what I find is that young lawyers, they straight away come to the Supreme Court or they come directly to the High Court, and without being exposed to drafting, without being exposed to other aspects. Straight away to argue alone will not be developing the skills of a lawyer. Anyway, let us listen to these three panelists. I am now calling upon Anurag Bana to say what he has to say on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krishnamani. Good evening, everyone. I would also like to specifically thank Mr. Shankardass, who's the former president of the International Bar Association. And I would also like to thank Mr. Prashant Kumar, especially for inviting me to talk about this topic. I work with the International Bar Association in London with the legal projects team. So it's a very small team of lawyers from 5 different jurisdictions. And we work as a think tank for the International Bar Association. It's a very recent setup. We started this in 2006. I've been working for the last almost 10 years with the International Bar Association. So now I will be very brief and very specific. I will tell you something about the IBA and how IBA is involved in providing new opportunities to young lawyers and also working a lot on skill development internationally. So I would request all, since I don't have, there's not a laptop here for a PowerPoint presentation, so I would request all the younger lot here, young lawyers and law students, to take out their notepad and probably make a note of some of the websites and some other information that I'll provide you. So a brief introduction about the IBA. The International Bar Association was set up in the year 1947. The headquarters now are in London. We were earlier in New York. It is the world's leading international organization and is called as the global voice of the legal profession. The interesting part is that it comprises of members of legal practitioners, bar associations, judges, academics, and now very recently has set up a student membership committee. There are 206 bar associations around the world who are members of the IBA, and in total there are about 55,000 individual lawyers who are members of the IBA. We have a very important constituent within the IBA, which is called as the Bar Issues Commission. And that is a very primary constituent in addition to the Human Rights Institute that we again have in the London office. So I will tell you that the IBA has been involved in a lot of resolutions, handbooks, and guidance notes that have been produced in the last 45 years or so. There are very interesting IBA legal instruments that I feel that every young lawyer probably should know about it, because it is through this that you can gel the knowledge part with the skill part. So we have the IBA International Principles on the Code of Conduct for Legal Profession that was adopted in the year 2011, which is more or less on the issue, it's more about the codes of conduct, ethics, like independence, integrity, confidentiality. But this is something that we at the IBA have been circulating quite a lot amongst different bar associations around the world, so that because this forms the fundamental a fundamental basis for anyone who would like to set foot in the legal practice field. This is very essential because this is something that you can't ignore. There's another interesting document that we have recently approved. It's the IBA Policy Guidelines for Training and Education of the Legal Profession. Now, this is again a document where it enlists all the different opportunities that are available and how the lawyers should make the best use of it. These are all, now I will not get into all the specifications of these documents because these are these are adopted resolutions, and I would just ask you to visit the website and have a look at them. But I would also like to enlist two very recent documents that we have adopted as legal instruments, which are the IBA Pro Bono Declaration. So IBA encourages a lot of pro bono work from lawyers around the world, because pro bono work is an integral component of the legal profession and its community. And this is, pro bono is something that actually gives you that chance to be able to enrich and enhance your true skill when you are representing or you're providing your legal advice. So we have a website called as the www.internationalprobono.com. This is a website that we inform, it is not a matchmaking model website, but it is more of a resource website. It gives a lot of information about who's doing what in what part of the world. And we encourage many young lawyers to come up with ideas and come up with suggestions on how they can make a difference and how they can provide assistance. So this is a website where I manage that website from the London office, so I would request you to visit the website and provide me with your thoughts, give me your thoughts. So it's about pro bono. Pro bono is a very integral part, and we have been promoting that for a very long period of time. There's another issue that the IBA is very proactive in, is the issue of continuous legal education, the CLE, which is, I know at the moment in India that it is not compulsory, but in many other jurisdictions, CLE, that's the continuing legal education, forms a very important part of keeping up to date with the legal aspects and even developing on your skill aspects. A legal instrument that we adopted this year, and it's called as the IBA International Principles on Social Media Conduct for the Legal Profession. And the interesting issue that we approached this was how social media is affecting the legal profession and how the young lawyers should keep in mind about how they relate to the legal profession. The questions that we addressed in this were whether lawyers can become friends with judges on Facebook, whether you can tweet from a courtroom about the course of proceedings. I mean, this is a problem that is being affected in many jurisdictions, and I'm sure even here it will someday become a very pertinent issue to be addressed. So this is a document that we adopted, and we came up with a set of six principles, which were independence, integrity, responsibility of use, maintaining public confidence, confidentiality, and the policy part. I hope the thing works, but even if it doesn't, then I'll quickly go ahead and I will not waste time on this. So that is something that we have adopted this year. I will just say that I won't talk about the legal instruments because that will take a whole day to do that. So I will just quickly tell you about the CLE part. The continuous legal education, the IBA holds these conferences which are all CLE credited in the US and in the UK. And I note that the Bar Council of India in 2011 had decided to introduce a voluntary CLE with the aim of encouraging legal professionals to secure access to enhanced knowledge base. So this is something that the Bar Council of India has already notified, with the sense that it is a voluntary CLE. It is not compulsory for everyone to do it. But the very fact that the Bar Council has thought on those lines and has been working towards this is a very positive development. So based on that, I would say the IBA conducts a young lawyers training program. This training program is conducted every year. It is a one-day training program, and it is usually clubbed with the annual conference. So it depends on wherever the annual conference is taking place. There is a one-day training course for young lawyers. This year it is happening on the 18th of October in Japan, in Tokyo. The one-day course is a very comprehensive course where there are skills that, the topics are basically about skills that international lawyers need: cross-border family law, cross-border legal practice, and how the lawyers should keep in mind about international principles that are in place on best practice, cross-border disputes, international contracts,